Okay, ready? Hi, my name is Jeanette Abney, and I would like for you to listen and support and buy Keith Andrews' book.
To a very special last edition of the KeithAndrewNetwork, Halloween edition of 2018. I'm here with the beautiful and talented Jeanette Abney, and I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Now, the honor is all mine. For people who want to know what my talk show is about, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. It's to prove to them it's amount to something. So hashtag break the labels. So that being said, half hour, 33 minutes of your time. You can say anything you want, talk about anything you want, freedom of speech, self-expression. So it does have the uncensored feel to it. So with that being said, first thing I did notice that I really liked that you are a talk show host on, I can't even speak, it's been a long day. You are a talk show host on the West Coast, and who influenced you to start that? And how many years have you been doing that?
Well, basically, it was one of those interesting things where I have a daughter, and my daughter always wanted her to go into acting and modeling, and she was always viewed her as being very talented, not myself, because I didn't know my capabilities at the time. So I kind of foobarred things and just go along with the flow. So I had signed her up for a interview in regards for a talent agent. So what I did was I sent her picture and my picture, and she got a call. So when she got a call, she couldn't believe it, and she was like, "Mom, these people called me," and I didn't send them no picture, and I had to come clean and say I did. So I started auditioning for certain things, and then I got a phone call because I always said I didn't want anybody looking at me, but I want to talk. So I
Right.
got a call from Voice America wanting me to be a guest on their host a radio show, which I later did. And then I went from there to doing my own podcast, which is called Precious Predicaments at Blog Talk Radio. And Precious was my mom's nickname. So in honor of my mom, who passed away of breast cancer in 2008, that's where that name came from. So I just like to talk. It's fun. It's funny. I bring up any type of topic, and that's how I got into this.
So Precious is no way involved or related to the actress Precious.
No, you know what? My mama was the mama from hell, but she wasn't that bad. She wasn't that bad. But yeah, but she was bad. She was bad. She was Michael Jackson bad. She was bad. So no, they called her as bad as she was. They called her Precious, and that's where that came from. She always wanted me to start a scholarship fund for underprivileged children because I was born and raised in the city of Compton, California. And so instead of me doing a scholarship fund, I actually started a whole nother corporation and just named it JA for Jeanette Abney and then Precious Inc. It's basically how that originated.
Yeah, that's really cool. Now, the next question I was going to ask you is who were some, and you can ask me anything you want. I have no sleeve cards up my sleeve, so you can ask me anything you want, no hold bar. So who are some of your favorite guests that you ever met and had on your show?
Oh my gosh, I don't even remember half the people that I've had on my show. I've had quite a few. A lot of individuals find me from a lot of different ways, either through Psychology Today. I had a guy that wanted to talk on my radio, and he was talking about, what was it? It wasn't dealing with spirituality, but it was some type of sensuality. And he was from another country. He was from the Netherlands. And I found that guest to be very interesting because he talked about how you can learn from history in order to predict what's going to happen in the future and how to get through things in the present. So I kind of thought that was one of my guests that was very interesting. And I mean, I've talked about so many different topics, from parenting to basically talking about toxic relationships. I have a show on Tuesdays that we call From the Pulpit to the Couch, where I have my pastor, Dan Estelle, on the air with me. So we basically, there's no limits to what we talk about. Even yesterday, that was Tuesday, I did a show and we talked about unifying against hate, talking about a lot of different things that's happening in our country today also.
No, absolutely. I do have a couple of politics questions, politific questions for you, but we can save that for a couple minutes. But the next question I was going to ask you is, what is your rating on your show? Do you do like just all PG, or is it like rated PG-13, or what is like the rating, or it doesn't really make a difference?
It don't make a difference, and that's a question I can't even answer. I would have to ask my intern or somebody, because I don't know. I just got the clicking, and so I don't even know what it's rated.
No, that's the same thing for me, because I try to cater to everyone. So mine is like PG-13, a little bit like 14. It's not like I use the N-word or the F-word or whatever. You know, if it comes up, occasionally I will say the F-word, but that's just me being fired up.
Gotcha.
But it's kind of like I have no filter. And I know that sounds like an excuse, but I just want to be real. So I'd never go on a whole big rant and say, you know, F. It's kind of like I am professional, but if you do work me over and get me fired up, if my mind switches into that gear, it's going to be just like a laser beam. It's just going to be in that mode.
Okay.
So,
well, one of the things I want to say is on my show, because it's not censored, and some of our topics, because I am a licensed therapist, and so I don't want to say keep it clean, but you never know what's going to come out of the mouth of any individual. Because I've had individuals that have called my show and they've said things that was not appropriate, and I had to handle them in a way that was professional and with style and tact. Because it's not that I have an image or reputation, but I learned how to meet people where they are to help them to where they're trying to go. So I learned not to let people push my buttons to try to take me there, because it can happen, especially when you're doing any type of radio, podcast, whether you're live, recorded, script, or even if you are even in a therapy session. People can't take you there, but I try not to give them my power to do that.
No, absolutely. And the next question I was going to ask you is, you know, while on the subject, like I said, the latest for me is I stay in between PG and PG-13, but I kind of do sometimes go off on like TV-14, but I try to keep that middle. So I cater to, yes, the younger audience, but I also like to cater to the older audience. But the next question I was going to ask you, actually, is what is some of your favorite subjects that you talk about on your show, and has anyone ever caught you off guard?
My favorite subjects have to do with, well, I'm not going to say just a particular favorite, but I want to say this. Because I talk about relationship issues, I talk about parenting issues, it all goes hand in hand. Because what my goal is to provide resources, information, and educate individuals to strengthen relationships, including relationships they have with themselves. So whether I'm talking about domestic violence, whether I'm talking about drug and alcohol addiction, whether I'm talking about something spiritual, it still has to do with a relationship. Because it seems like that's where a lot of people are lacking. Even when they're dealing with their own self-esteem, self-image issues, it's still stemming with some type of relationship. So I would say then that would be my whole gamma, is strengthening relationships.
No, absolutely. Now my next question I was going to ask you is, let's see, just trying to pick a good one. You mentioned that you are owner and executive director. How many years have you been an owner, and how many years have you been executive director?
I purchased the Center for the Treatment of Addiction in 2006. So it's actually been 12 years. I started working there in 2005. My story was I was working in Orange County for Orange County Healthcare Agency. I always wanted to be an attorney and retire as a judge. I tell individuals I got fired 3 times in 1 year. I bought a company. I didn't know a LLC from an S corp to a C corp. I just had to do what I had to do. I bought the company again for my daughter. I got fired from my job, and I've been working for myself ever since with the Center for the Treatment of Addiction. Then when my mom passed in 2008, I purchased and I became the founder of J.A. Precious in 2011. And now, so that's been, 7 years since I've been the owner and executive director of J.A. Precious Inc.
Now, would you say your mother is a big inspiration and had a big impact on your life, and that's the reason you do what you do?
I wouldn't say that. I would say that my mother was one that when I was growing up, when I was born, I was pronounced dead at birth. They told my mother, or to my father, that he would either they could save his wife or they could save his child. My father said save my wife because we can have another child. My grandmother said save my grandchild. So they told my mother that I would be mentally retarded. I would never be able to walk or talk. And now I won't shut up. If I don't talk, I go to sleep. So because of that, I was born and they thought that I was going to have a lot of challenges. It kind of proved them wrong. We got a poor network connection. Kind of proved them wrong. But with that being said, my mother was very hard on me. And she would say with an education, you can have and do whatever you wanted to do. But I found that was a lie. Because what happened was the more educated I became, the more intimidating I became to others. And I was a threat to others. So I had to learn how to fight differently. I had to learn how to beat the odds. I had to learn that just because I'm African American, born and raised in Compton, I can't let nobody tell me what I can and cannot do. And it's still a challenge for me. But now I just sit back and laugh at folks when they tell me what I can't do.
No, I agree with you. Now I'm going to ask you to some hard-hitting ones. And like I said, I'm going to push on you, and you can push right back. Let's see how far it goes. And like I said, it's all in the name of fun. With everything you accomplish in your life, do you think stereotyping has played a factor into it?
But you know what? Stereotyping may. I can't blame it all on stereotyping because sometimes it's people's ignorance. Sometimes it's people's fear, their own insecurities. They don't know me. And sometimes I have to learn that it's not an all. It's never going to be an absolute. So what I have to do in the field that I'm in and I've learned is I will meet you where you are to try to help you to where you want to go. And I have a strong gift of a sense and a gift of discernment to where even if you stereotype me, that's on you. It's not what you call me, it's what I answer to. And so I've learned how to learn how to develop coping skills to be able to recognize and identify that when I see that someone is stereotyping someone.
No, I agree. And how do you feel about people using a race card? I give you an example.
Well, some people use.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Some people use the race. They can use the race cards for their advantage, or they can use the race cards for their disadvantage. But sometimes, in the world that we live in now, it's much bigger than race. You have gender discrimination. You have socioeconomical discriminations. It's so much deeper than just race. So even when we talk about affirmative action also served a purpose, and it was also another way of handicapping individuals too. So when you're looking at the race card, are you looking at it as a form of manipulation, or are you looking at it as an excuse? Because individuals, a race is something that we don't choose. You don't have no choice in the color of skin or your the culture that you have. But then there's what you call the difference between assimilation and acculturation. So when we talk about the race or using a race card, sometimes individuals want to have a superior race, a dominant race, but we have to learn how to respect people and learn about individuals and their races and their culture.
No, absolutely. And I give you an example. And, I have seen people who used the race card or discrimination card or whatever you want to call it. And I am guilty of using it too, because when I get, and it's true, when someone backs me into a corner, it's like, you're only picking on me because you know I'm retarded and I have a disability. I'm not saying, I'm not using that as a shield, but I'm stating it as a fact. Yes, I do have a learning disability, and sometimes I am on the spectrum of being retarded. But it's kind of like how people talk to you. It kind of like gives them some ammunition of saying, I can talk to you because I, am able to, and I have the power to.
Well, let me tell you this. They really don't have the power to. And when someone does, it shows their ignorance, because we don't even use the word retarded anymore. It's now considered borderline intellectual functioning.
Right.
And you cannot, and I work with individuals and they have drug addictions. And I cannot just say the person is a crackhead or the person is a meth addict or a tweaker, because when you do that, you minimize the person's ability and you never know who you're talking to. And that same individual that you just said was retarded, or that may be that same person that may have to save your life, or that may have to help you do something one day. So people need to be mindful of that. And what happens is, because they don't understand, they don't know, and we've lost a lot of sensitivity because we are basically insensitive to our own needs. It's sad. It is very sad. It's like being a bully. Most bullies have been bullied. So if I see someone calling someone those names, I'll question him. Well, why would you say that? Why do you think that? And 9 times out of 10, they either got someone in their family like that, something that they don't understand, something that they was told. I saw a Facebook posting the other day. It wasn't even on Facebook, on the internet. It said, "Don't believe everything you think." So, I mean, you have to basically, I like to question individuals. I like to make them think. Because to retard is like to stop something.
Yeah.
No, that's so not cool. So not cool.
No, I agree. Now, the next question I was going to ask you is, what is, for an example, what is your demographic for your show? Like, do you cater just for women? Do you cater just for guys? Do you cater to the black audience, white audience? Well, let me answer that on my half. Is people saying to me that said, I'll give you an example. When I first approached you to be a guest on my show, people are like saying, "Oh, you think just because I have a learning disability, I just interview people with disabilities." No, I interview everyone, and because I like to give people the same opportunity that I would like to be given. So it doesn't matter, white, black, Spanish, Asian, white, straight, gay, whatever. But there are some limits. I like to feel comfortable when I'm doing the interview too. But, it's just, I keep it straightforward, and I like to give everyone an opportunity. And just because I do the show, it doesn't mean it's only directed at, oh, whoa, you're white. Do you only cater to white people and people who are disabled, that able, and that? Like, I don't just cater to people with disabilities or whatever to put in the bullshit with stereotype you want to make up. So for you, like, who do you cater to, and do you cater to every single person out there?
I cater to no one. I provide resource information and to educate. When I look at the stats, because I don't even care about my stats. I don't even look at the audience, because I had a question the other day where I looked at it, the demographics, and it was Ethiopia, Germany, Mexico, Canada, United States. And it varies from week to week in regards to the demographic. I was questioning, do they translate the language? So I don't cater to whether they are from Compton or Orange County. I put the information out there because what I talk about is global, and individuals need to know, or I want to share that information with individuals all over the world. So it doesn't matter if you're 2 or if you're 92. The information can help anyone at any level in their life. My mother used to always say, keep living. And I did not know what she meant by that. And what it meant was the longer you live, if you have that information, you can't say that nobody tell you. So it's very difficult with my radio show to target a certain population or to target a certain type of age group because the information can be used across the spectrum.
No, I agree. You know, do you ever, I see, I'm going to save this one for when we come back from the commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to ask you 2 more hard-hitting questions, and then I'm going to pass the show over to you.
Okay.
Vanessa Lina. Adrian Lotto. I'm Cynthia Babson. I'm Sonia Fisher. This is Shane Smith.
My name is Alexandra Bowie. My name is Amelia Clover.
Hi, I'm Amy Linden.
Hi, I'm Anita Nicole Brown.
Meg Green.
Hi, my name is Asata Caldwell. Hi, everybody. I'm Brooke Percy.
Hi, I'm Brinford. Hi, I'm Casey Dunn.
Hi, it's Cassandra Kavinsky. Hi, I'm Christina Briza.
I'm Cindy Hogan. I'm Courtney Sinella.
Hi, I'm Daisy.
My name is Deborah Jane East.
Hi, my name is Danielle Marcia.
Everyone, I'm Victoria London.
Hi, I'm Heather Crona.
Hi, I'm Heather Callahan Stevens.
Hi, I'm J. Nicole Ralph.
My name is Jamie Patrell.
My name is Turi.
My name is Julia Brankovich. Kathleen Wills. Kimberly Amato.
Hi, my name is Laura Putton.
Hi, I'm Laura Chapanis.
Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Damas.
This is Michelle Mupo, a.k.a. Fuchsia. I'm Rachel Rivera.
Hi, my name is Sarah Joy Mount.
Hi, I'm Susan Render.
Hi, everyone. This is Venus Leone.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Dana. Hi, I'm Stephanie Herrera, and I was just on the Keith Andrew Network. It was tons of fun. We used up all our time and then some. I really recommend this show, and try to be a guest on Keith's show. It was super fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with Jeanette, and with the last 12 minutes left of the show, I'm going to ask you 2 more hard-hitting questions. This is going to be a fun interview. I am always looking to change up the format, try different things. But the next question I was going to ask you is social media. Can social media make you or break you? And with everything you accomplish in your life, do you think you're thankful for the fans on social media, or are you thankful for the fans in real life?
Social media can do both. It can make you or it can break you. Social media can give you the exposure to where you may not be able to reach a certain population of individuals because you never know who's out there. So it can make you. Social media can also break you because social media can make you get the big head. And social media can, if you are not secure within yourself, if you're not able to handle some of the critiques and the comments that you hear about yourself and your work that you do, it can break you down. Or you can take it as a learning period or a growth moment to help you improve. So you can do a combination of both. It depends on how you view it in regards to, because I didn't know that there's so much stuff out there. So what I do is I also connect myself, because even though I look like, you told me to dress up for Halloween, and I told you that, I forgot to tell you, but I'm Oprah and Beyonce at the same time. I just have a different color hair. I'm also a grandma. And by me being a grandma, people don't believe I'm a granny. So I have my grandkids. I have my intern who is young enough to be my daughter. I have friends that are 88 years old that help me out. So what I don't know, I'm willing to ask someone to help me with social media and learning these different things, because things change all the time. I don't even want to upgrade my phone. I have an Apple 4 and an Apple 5. They got Apple 10 because I don't know how to use it. So with social media changing and all these different things that they have out there, it can help you. And like I said, it can make you or break you, depending on how you use it.
Yeah, I agree. Now, was there any funny stories you like to share? Or any funny pranks you ever pulled on to people?
Pranks? With social, no, not with social media. Now you're taking me back to my childhood, because I was a bad kid growing up. I mean, right now I'm too old for pranks. So, and like on Halloween, I don't dress up for Halloween. When I get off this, I'm going to the casino. So I hope everybody play no prank on me and take away my chips because it might turn into a fight. But that'd be a prank if somebody pulled on me. My chips not real. But by that same token, a lot of things is, I mean, I'm not serious. I love to have fun. Even on my radio show, if you listen to me talk, I'm real, I'm authentic, I'm down to earth. I don't bite my tongue. But by that same token, I don't play games. You know, life is too short. And when a person is playing a prank on someone, and is that prank trying to hurt them or is it trying to help them? Is how I look at it. Now, when I was younger, I was a Dennis the Menace of my neighborhood. You know, I would sick my dogs on crackheads and throw apples not apples, but grapefruits and onions at folks. People said I was mean. I didn't realize I was mean, but I beat you up, take your food. So those were then, but it wasn't a prank back then, but I was doing those type of things. But now that I'm older, I don't have time for that.
No, I hear you. You know, like today I was kind of being serious, but I wanted to make a joke at the same time. Part of my disability is when I see a word, I kind of sound it out. So there's something called Doreen's or Diane, or it was something that was similar to me. It was sounding like diarrhea. So I was like, Doreen's sugarcane. But I was reading that, it's like, well, it looks kind of like diarrhea. And then I asked one of my coworkers, hey, what is diarrhea sugarcane? And he said, it's Doreen's sugarcane.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, it's just like, some words. I mean, I used to, when I was trying to say, I'm going to a quinceañera, and it's a quinceañera, I used to call it a quesadilla. But I didn't mean to be disrespectful. I mean, I call it a quinceañera. I like to eat. I'm a food person. I'll be saying I wanted Yoshinoya. I call it Yosuzuka or something. But by that same token, sometimes we, may mispronounce a word, or it's like even when you brought up social media and people have these phrases, laugh out loud. You ain't laughing out loud, or I'm just saying, no, you wanted to say that. So sometimes we'll use that to kind of justify what we're really feeling or thinking on the inside, but we don't know what the reaction is going to be from the other person. And that's another way I look at in regards to pranks too. Or trying to do these things. Is the person really trying to be funny, or do they really don't understand or don't know?
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, with the last 7 minutes left of the show, I'm going to pass it over to you. Was there anything you wanted to talk about? Anything you wanted to promote? This is your time.
Well, no, I'm pretty open. I mean, you contacted me and you told me what your platform was. I was very honored to be involved with this. I was just selected as a top 25 courageous woman in Courageous Woman magazine. I do a lot of stuff, but I'm very humble. It's not about me. I use my gift to share with people throughout the world. So I'm not trying to promote anything. I'm not trying to do anything special. I got so much to do. I'm grateful that my intern cleaned up my office, because my office would have been a hot mess and you would have seen how my office really look. Even though my clients come, I don't try to clean up when they come, because I'm the same way all the time.
No, absolutely. And same thing for me. I don't put a mask on. What you get's what you get.
That's true. They say what you see is what you get. So, and that's real. And that's one of the things I can say as far as myself as being a licensed therapist. And I have 5 office locations, and I'm on the radio 2 days a week. But I have an office in Fullerton, Garden Grove, Huntington Beach, Oceanside, and Marietta. So I do therapy 7 days a week. And when you indicated about even the races, or the race card, I've been laughing here recently because a lot of phone calls I've been getting from clients is they're looking for an African-American therapist, because it's not that many individuals that can relate to individuals with particular issues. So just like you said, you have a learning disability, but if you was going to therapy and the person was insensitive and didn't understand your disability, there's a disconnect.
Yeah.
So one of the things I would like to see in the field of therapy is for the therapist to be more worldly and more well-rounded, and not so stuffed shirt and taking things so seriously to where you disconnecting from meeting people with their needs.
No, I agree with you. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air about wrapping up our interview segment. How can people follow you on social media? Are you on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram? And when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, be completely honest, what was your first reaction? And after being on the show, how do you feel now, and would you recommend it to others?
Well, I would recommend it to others, but when you contacted me, first of all, most of my social media things I didn't even set up because I didn't even know how to start a Facebook account. And when I had my first Facebook account, and when I started doing the radio shows, I started posting my shows on Facebook, and people were putting me in groups that I didn't even know nothing about the groups. And I remember one time a person kicked me out their group. I was on Facebook jail, and I got mad. And I said, well, if you don't want me on your group, I can't post. I started my own group. And that was my attitude. So that was how I dealt with the rejection of the person not wanting me to post and put me in Facebook jail. So it was funny because when I started my group, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just clicking. But I did it. So I'm not going to take credit for doing a lot of my social media stuff because other people did it for me. But they have to teach me. They got my passwords. They do all that stuff. And they'll tell me, or either I'll just get the clip. I got freaking 5,000, 6,000 emails I got to open. So I'm not going to take that type of credit. But I appreciate those that also believe in me, that try to help me. And I like also opening the doors for other people. But I'm not going to take credit for all that social media stuff because I got a tumbling, whatever the heck that is. I don't even know the password. People told me, my intern told me, they don't use that anymore. So, so I don't know what's new.
No, I agree. I was really upset that I can't find a messenger anymore. And especially Yahoo's been around, still around for that matter, and they still they got rid of their Yahoo Messenger. But yet, there's people that say, yes, I have a Yahoo Messenger name. That's great, but too bad I can't get a hold of you.
I don't know what Yahoo Messenger. I know Messenger from Facebook, and my daughter just told me she deleted her Messenger. I had one of the ladies working with me. She was laughing at me because I have a sbcglobal.net email. So she said, I haven't heard that in a long time. I'm like, well, that's what I got. I don't know how to change it. So, but the thing is, I don't get caught all up in that because as long as you are authentic and you are comfortable with who you are, it's a learning experience. I'm willing to learn, but some of that stuff I'll never forget. When I first got an iPad, one of my clients was a teenager and she kept saying, click it, click it. I'm like, I'm clicking it. Ain't nothing working. I'm clicking. And I'm just clicking. So that stuff give me a headache. I like the BlackBerry phone, but my ball got broke. I got my BlackBerry phone in a bag. I refuse to give her my phone. So it's a learning experience. But when you contacted me, I didn't think anything of it. Like I said, I'm very open. I'm very diverse. So I said, okay. And when you send me the emails, I apologize, or I am apologizing because I got emails because I'm busy all the time. But I'm not too busy when someone invite me or want to talk to me about something. I will take the time. Normally they send me something to eat, but I've been fed already, so you ain't got to worry about sending me Uber Eats or nothing. So I was open to the idea, and I shared that with you.
No, I appreciate it. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air about wrapping up our interview segment. It was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.
Okay.